Listen to me. I am Tony Robbins, and I'm about to tell you something raw and real. Everything I have today, the success, the fulfillment, the freedom, it cost me my life. Not my physical life, but the old version of me that was lazy, broke, insecure, and afraid. I had to let that version die so a new one could be born. And I'm here to tell you, if you want to change your life, you have to be willing to let your old life go. The excuses, the doubts, the comfort zone, because they are killing your future. The price is high, but the reward is extraordinary. Every transformation in your life begins with awareness. You can't change what you refuse to see. That invisible chain that's been holding you back financially, emotionally, mentally, it only has power because you've allowed it to remain hidden. The first step is shining a light on it, pulling it out of the shadows and saying, this is what's been controlling me. Maybe it's a belief you inherited from your family. Money is evil. Success is only for others. I'll never get out of debt. Maybe it's fear. That paralyzing whisper that says if you try, you'll fail. And if you fail, you'll be humiliated. Or maybe it's comfort, the toxic comfort of staying where you are because at least it's familiar. But here's the truth, nothing changes until you face that invisible chain head on. The moment you name it, you weaken it. The moment you say, this is the story I've been living by, you begin to reclaim your power to write a new one. Awareness is painful, yes, but it's also liberating because you can't break what you can't see. But once you see it, you realize it was never as strong as you thought. You realize the lock was never outside you. It was always inside your mind. That's the wake-up call. That's the first swing of the hammer against the chain. But awareness alone isn't enough. Once you've identified the chain, you've got to make the decision to break it. And I don't mean a weak, half-hearted decision. I mean a full body, no turning back, burn the boats kind of decision. The kind of decision that says, I will no longer let this chain dictate my life. I will no longer accept less than I'm capable of. I will no longer sit in fear when I was made to stand in strength. The decision is everything, because without it, awareness just turns into excuses. You can know you're stuck and still do nothing. You can understand the problem and still stay in chains. But when you decide, truly decide, you ignite a fire inside you that makes progress inevitable. Decision creates momentum. Decision builds courage. Decision cuts off every other option except forward. You see, the difference between people who live extraordinary lives and people who settle isn't talent. It isn't luck. It's decision. It's the willingness to say enough. Today is the day I change. Today is the day I break free. When you make that kind of decision, you step into a new identity. You stop waiting for permission, you stop blaming your past, and you start living as the person you were always meant to be. That's the power of decision. It's the key that unlocks every door that fear has tried to keep closed. The reason most people never escape their invisible chains is because they underestimate the power of their daily habits. Your habits are shaping your financial destiny more than your circumstances, more than the economy, more than luck. Every decision you make, what you spend on, what you save, what you invest in, even how you speak to yourself about money, it's either strengthening the chain or breaking it. Think about it. If every single day you tell yourself, I'll never get ahead, you're reinforcing the prison you live in. If every day you spend without thinking, chasing comfort instead of growth, you're tightening that chain. But when you shift your habits, even slightly, the entire trajectory of your life changes. Start by owning your mornings. Don't wake up and scroll, wake up and plan. Don't drown in debt because you're chasing instant pleasure. Build a habit of delayed gratification because discipline today equals freedom tomorrow. Your rituals determine your results. If your habits don't match the life you want, it's time to change them. The invisible chain can't survive when you install habits that empower you instead of weaken you. And it doesn't stop there. Habits feed directly into your mindset. The invisible chain is strongest not around your wallet, but around your mind. If you believe you're limited, if you believe money is unattainable, if you believe success is for others but not for you, then no matter how much effort you put in, you'll sabotage yourself. Why? Because the mind will always find a way to prove what it believes. If you think you can't, you'll quit the moment it gets hard. If you think you're not worthy, you'll push away opportunities even when they're right in front of you. But when you condition your mind to believe in possibility, you ignite creativity, resourcefulness, and resilience. This isn't about blind positivity. It's about training your brain to focus on solutions instead of problems. It's about building a psychology of abundance instead of a psychology of scarcity. You can either let your mind chain you to mediocrity or train your mind to unlock greatness. Every thought is a choice, every belief is a decision, and every decision shapes your financial destiny. The day you decide to break free mentally is the day the chains around your life begin to shatter. The invisible chain keeps people trapped because they're afraid to take risks. They cling to the familiar, even if the familiar is suffocating them. You see, comfort is seductive. It whispers, stay here, it's safe, don't step outside, don't challenge yourself. But what has comfort ever given you except more of the same? Growth never comes from the comfort zone. Every breakthrough in life comes with risk. The risk of failure, the risk of embarrassment, the risk of losing before you win. But here's the truth, the greatest risk is not trying at all. If you never step out, you never find out what you're truly capable of. Stop waiting for certainty. It doesn't exist. You will never feel 100% ready. You will never have every answer. And that's okay, because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's taking action despite the fear. Think about it the moment you risk stepping out. Even if you stumble, you learn, you grow, you strengthen your capacity. Risk isn't your enemy, stagnation is. The invisible chain tightens every time you choose comfort over courage. But the moment you decide to take risks, to put yourself on the line for something greater, you weaken that chain, you break its grip, and you open the door to extraordinary growth. And once you start breaking that cycle, you need resilience like never before, because life will test you. You'll face setbacks, you'll hear no more times than you want. You'll fail. You'll fall flat on your face. That's inevitable. But here's what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary: resilience. Resilience is that muscle inside of you that says, I don't care how many times I fall, I will rise again. Every failure is not final, it's feedback. Every obstacle is not the end, it's the raw material for your next breakthrough. The invisible chain convinces you that setbacks mean you're not good enough, that failure defines you. But resilience says the opposite: failure refines you. It sharpens your skills, it builds your strength, it toughens your spirit. Without resilience, every setback feels like a wall. With resilience, every setback becomes a stepping stone. And here's the truth: success doesn't belong to the most talented, it belongs to the most resilient. The ones who get back up again and again until they break through. That's how you transform your life, not by avoiding failure, but by refusing to let it keep you down. That's how chains are broken. That's how freedom is earned. Your environment is either fueling your growth or feeding your chains. Look around you. Who are you spending time with? What are you listening to? What voices are shaping your thinking every single day? Because whether you realize it or not, you become who you surround yourself with. If you're around people who settle, who complain, who believe life is rigged against them, then guess what? You'll start to shrink to their level. You'll inherit their limitations. That's the invisible chain at work. Not just inside you, but around you. But if you surround yourself with people who dream big, who act boldly, who refuse to quit, you'll start to rise. You'll feed off their energy, their belief, their hunger. Proximity is power. Sometimes the single most important decision you can make is to change your environment. To step away from the toxic, the draining, the small-minded, and step into spaces that challenge you, inspire you, and demand more of you. The invisible chain loses its grip when you put yourself in rooms where growth is the standard, not the exception. Your environment is a mirror of your future. If you don't like what you see, change it. But even with the right environment, nothing changes until you take relentless action. Knowledge without action is wasted. Dreams without action are just fantasies. You can read every book, attend every seminar, listen to every motivational speech, but if you don't get up and do something, you stay chained. Action is the antidote to fear. Action is the cure to doubt. Action is what transforms possibility into reality. Stop waiting for the perfect time. It doesn't exist. Stop waiting for someone else to show you the way. It's your job to carve the path. Every step you take, no matter how small, creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence fuels even greater action. And before you know it, you're unstoppable. But it all begins with that first move. Don't underestimate the power of imperfect action. It's better to fail forward than to stand still waiting for guarantees. The invisible chain thrives on hesitation, procrastination, paralysis. Break it by moving, by executing, by acting with urgency. The world doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. The people who change their lives are not the ones who plan forever, but the ones who take relentless, massive, consistent action. Your financial and personal breakthroughs won't come from wishing or waiting. They'll come from discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting every day, but it's the foundation of freedom. Think about it. The invisible chain wants you impulsive, distracted, reactive. It wants you chasing short-term pleasure. There will be seasons in your life when you feel completely alone, when the people you thought would stand by you disappear, when the support you expected never shows up. And in those moments, you'll be tempted to believe you're powerless, that you can't move forward without someone holding your hand. But here's the truth. That feeling of isolation is not your enemy, it's your opportunity. Because when you're stripped of everyone else, you discover the raw, unshakable power within yourself. Solitude forces you to dig deeper, to find resources inside you that you didn't know existed. It's in those moments of silence that you realize you've always had what it takes. You don't need a cheering section to validate you. You don't need permission to act. You don't need the world to agree with you. What you need is the decision to rise. When you stand alone, you stop leaning on excuses. You stop outsourcing your power. You learn to trust your instincts, to listen to your inner drive, to rely on your own resilience. And when you come through that fire, you're stronger, unshakable, untouchable. You realize the chain of dependency is broken and the freedom you gain is priceless. And here's what fuels that freedom: hope. Hope is not weak. Hope is not naive. Hope is power. It's the oxygen of the human spirit. Without hope, you suffocate under pressure. Without hope, you quit before the finish line. But with hope, you find the strength to push even when everything in you screams to stop. Hope says, this is not the end. This setback is not my story. My future is bigger than my present pain. Hope doesn't ignore reality. It transforms it. It shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's possible, from the weight of your chains to the vision of your freedom. Every great achievement began with someone who refused to let go of hope, even when the odds were stacked against them. That's the fire you need burning inside you. When fear tells you it's impossible, hope whispers, try one more time. When failure knocks you down, hope gives you the courage to stand back up. Hope is the chain breaker, the force that turns ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. If you carry hope, no setback can destroy you, no failure can define you, and no challenge can hold you captive. As long as you have hope, you have the ultimate weapon to rise, rebuild, and create the life you were destined for.